Hey guys, welcome to another ride in the Struggle Bus, where every wheel is an empty triangle. On today's bus ride, we are playing against a 9K on OGS. And the big feature of this game is some very interesting Josekis that I don't think you guys have seen on these videos, including one really fancy one that even barely shows up in my own games. So it'll be interesting to see those newer variations in these videos anyway, as compared to what we normally see. The game then gets pretty fighty, and it's an exciting one in general. So I think you guys are really going to enjoy this one. As per always, I'd really like to thank my opponent for playing us today. I'd like to thank you guys for watching these videos, and I'd like to thank my Patreon subscribers for supporting the channel. So with that introduction out of the way, let's get into this game. Okay, here we go. We are playing against a 9K on OGS. We will see how well they do with following the basic rules. Okay, so we've got an approach on our corner. We're just going to diagonal back. I'm not sure if this has shown up in any of our games, but this is what we are going to do. These two stones are actually perfectly strong as is, so we can play away from them. That is the strength of playing this diagonal here. Black correctly played R8, and now our friend is sliding back. We're going to show a variation that I haven't really shown on these videos, because I don't want you guys playing this variation if you don't understand it. But might as well show it so that you guys know it exists, because you're probably used to playing D2. But we can attach here, and then when black hanes, we hane here. Black should Atari at E3, we will connect, and now black will most likely connect to E4, at which point we connect underneath. Black will most likely push out, but black can also play here. And in that case, I think I'm going to just extend here and see where black wants to play. So black correctly played this, and I can go over some of the pitfalls with this variation during the review. So our corner gets approached. We will back off here. Let's see if he returns the favor with attaching at Q17. Do. And so we will play the hane. They will play the hane. We will play the Atari. They will connect. One of the tricky things about this variation is I can play P18 right here. I'm not going to do it. It really complicates things. So that is one reason why I do not suggest newer players play this variation. But we will connect, and we will push. And then black can push. Black can Atari here. I don't think black is supposed to do this. I'm not used to seeing this move. And so that tells me that it is most likely an overplay. I'm wondering what the punishment of said overplay is, though. For now, if we don't know, we can just hane. We're not going to get in trouble with the hane. And so that is what we'll do, because there is a cut that comes with a double Atari at N17, so black will have to do something to fix that. And we can just tanuki from this. There's likely a weakness at something like L17, but we don't have to worry about that for now, because that isn't very basic, is it? So I think we can tanuki from this. This looks strong enough. And so let's just go invade the 3-3. Didn't really feel like doing yet another approach from the outside on the 4-4 stone, so let's just go into the 3-3. Black blocks this way, which makes perfect sense because black wants to develop the top side. Black's getting a little sneaky with this. That's fine. We will just push. Don't worry, when your opponent plays this, you can just extend. They will still most likely play here, and it's like they extended, you extended, they hane. We know this variation. We're just going to hane now. Okay, and black is going to continue to get a little sneaky on us. Here, we are going to block. This threatens an Atari here. There's a number of ways that that black can go with this. I'm surprised that a 9K is playing this variation. So there's a number of things we can do, but I'm going to play the simplest variation, though none of these variations are simple once black decides to play something like this. So I apologize, guys, but we are going to play D18. And black is going to play b17 to force us to capture. And we are going to capture. And then it's going to play here to force us to connect. But there are weaknesses here that black needs to take care of. And now we can just jump out to here. We can actually take this Atari first. So we'll take this Atari first. It is worth noting, I actually don't know this variation exceptionally well. We can look at the Hane as well. For whatever reason, I think it's jumping here. This is what I'm used to seeing, and so this is what I'm going to do. And then black will attach here. Seems not the greatest. I think we can get away with this Hane. And we're just going to connect. Because we need to protect our cuts. We really don't want this cut here. And we can protect with the tiger's mouth, or we can protect with the full connect. I think we're going to take the tiger's mouth. And this Joseki decision was a little strange by black, because this is typically done when black wants to change directions and develop over here as opposed to this side. But I think this side was really the side to develop on. So a little surprised to see this from black. Either way, we are clearly departing a little bit from our true basics here, because we're playing with some variations that you guys probably don't see a lot. Okay, so black plays here, which really wasn't needed. This group was plenty strong enough, and so this is just kind of a small move since all the groups were nice and strong here. So we've got a couple of areas that we could look at, because we're still in the point in the game where we're caring about corners then sides then centers. So we could look at something like R4 to solidify this corner. We could look at something like R10 to build this side. We could look at something like C8 to reduce here. And, you know, a lot of this is preference. I'm sure one of these moves is larger than the others. I don't think it's R10. I think it's either something like R4 or C8. But you want to know what? C8 will make for a more dynamic game, so that is what I'm going to play. It is worth noting that black's very, very, very strong over here, so I think it's better to play closer to this group. Not that this group is particularly weak. But black plays over here, a little close to black's strength, and that is okay. We will jump out. Okay, and so black turns here. Surprising move. This tells me that black wanted some more strength here. But if black wanted more strength, they probably should have turned. I'm going to extend here now, just to get strength for ourselves. If black Hanes, we can get the Hane, and it's a little problematic. And this move by black also tells me that they were unsure of the strength of this group, which is fine. These two stones, though, perfectly strong, right? We played C8, and they kind of attacked it, so we jumped out. And now the moves that have been played don't really affect these two stones. So I don't think we actually have to do anything with them right now. So we can go take the next big move, which I think is probably R4. So let's go grab our corner, see how black responds to this, and depending on what black does here, we can do something like R10 now to go and make that group a little weaker. So that's what we're going to do. Black descended, which threatens to take away some of our corner, but honestly, that's not that big of a problem. This move is very aggressive. I don't think black wants this stone to get stronger, because as this stone gets stronger, this group's going to get weaker. So we're just going to extend out, which is going to make this stone very weak, and this group pretty weak as well. So black's going to be really careful with how they play this one, else some stones might end up dying. Okay, so black is playing here. I am not so sure that black has a good plan for these two stones. So let's just surround them, see what happens. If they die, cool. And if not, we'll get a lot of strength in the center, because remember, when we attack stones, we don't need to kill them. We just need to make sure we're getting profit. There really weren't a lot of points for us to be had in here. But if we get the outside, it'll come with a lot of strength, which will really damage these three stones. But I have trouble seeing how these stones are going to live. I'm just going to connect here. to make sure that there's no cut that can be taken, because we have to protect our cuts, stay nice and strong. And so this will limit black's options here. So black Atari's our stone. But just like our rules say, not every stone is important. And boy, is this stone not important. So we do not need to save this stone at all. Black's still in a lot of trouble here. This group's now in a lot of trouble. So we can even do something like this now and go and surround this group. And again, the goal is not to kill this group. We just want to harass it and see what we can get. And if that means that we get to play moves like this and really develop a very large bottom, then that is fine. So now we'll extend, and I'm curious what black is going to do. Black is going to play here. That is fine. We will block. And what's nice is we're building up the corner. We're building up the side. It's all going to come in Sente. So obviously we're going to block this connection here. And now black probably needs to play something like S7, or this group might just die. Well, black really needs to be careful here. We can play this, but I think the Atari is probably the way to go. We normally don't want to Atari cutting stones, but in this case, I think it is the thing to do. So here, I think we are just going to Hane at the head of 2. And now black is hoping to play here to get a double Atari. We are obviously not going to let that happen, right? Right, guys? So we are going to connect. And then black plays here. And so black still might need something like S7 to live, but maybe not. But it looks a little dicey, because if we play here, we could potentially connect these stones. But you want to know what? We're just going to leave it. Because again, our goal is not to kill. Our goal is just to get profit. And there's plenty of profit to be had to now attack this weak group, because we like attacking weak groups. So we are just going to extend here and go chase these stones now. Because surrounding in Sente is pretty much always going to be a good thing. So let's get some strength in the center as well. And we will play here. So you'll notice that this attack started just on these 2 stones, and then it transitioned into attacking here. And now there's another weak group to go after. Black's making a pretty big mistake here. This is a move that can be played when you're being aggressive, when you're attacking. But black doesn't have a base here. Our group is already alive, and black is actively getting surrounded. So black needs to be very careful, because a move like this starts to surround black. And our goal, just like I've been saying with all these attacks, our goal is not to kill, but we want to threaten to kill. And if our opponent missteps, then we can go and try to kill the group. Here, I'm actually not going to play this. I don't want there to be all these cuts. So I'm just going to play solid. And if that means black lives, so be it. Because again, if we surround in Sente, it's still going to be great. Because as all this is happening, we're solidifying something like a 15-point corner, while black got about 8 points here. We killed this. We're going to be getting great strength in the center, while black gets maybe a handful of points here. And so we're just going to force black to live tiny, tiny, tiny by playing moves like this. And I don't even know if black is alive now. I don't think black is. I think if we play M2, black just dies. But again, we don't need to be killing. So now what we can do is we can play a move like this, which threatens the strength and livelihood of this group. And while all this is happening, you can see that we're developing a very strong center. What are we going to get from that center? I don't know. Maybe nothing. But the strength will likely turn into profit somewhere. Okay, so black realizes that they were not alive here yet. That is fine. So we are going to get 2 moves in a row, which is always fun. That is always fun times. So now we can play here, and this group's going to turn into very, very, very few points. And so now black's got 3 points here, and maybe 6 points here, and maybe 8 points here. That's really it. And we've got a lot of points here. We've got some points, and then whatever we end up getting in the center, which is not going to be a trivial amount of points. So what are we going to do to try to develop this center? Centers are really tough. They're really tough to hold. But let's play here. This is like the main stone that can kind of break in. So let's just see what we can do to block this stone and see how we can develop this center. Because it's really the last place on the board. We've already taken care of the corners. We've already taken care of the sides. Center is the only thing that's left. But there's a reason it's the last thing left. It is just hard to take care of. But then friends, Black does this. And so I'm not even gonna call the other guy. He doesn't even need to show up. Where are you guys playing here? I want to know. Go in the comments. Tell me, Gabe, this is where I'd play. This is how I would handle this stone. So I'm going to tell you before I even, really think about what I'm going to play here. When our opponents make moves like this, we need to decide if we're going to try to kill this stone or if we are just going to look to get profit. Because you've heard me say, like 17 times this video, that we don't attack to kill, we attack for profit. But sometimes you just got to kill a stone, right? Sometimes a stone gets played too deeply and we just have to kill it. And I believe this is one of those times. We have great strength over here. We have great strength over here. And Black can try to break out over here. So I think all we need to do is block this one direction. So I'm just going to play here to block the only direction that Black can really run. And we're going to try to limit the eye space that Black can get here. When I look at killing a stone like this, I want to look at what's the easiest way for this stone to live. Is it easier for the stone to connect up to a living group, or is it easier for this group to make eye space? In this case, I think it was easier for them to run out, so that's why I blocked this way. Now that they're blocked, I think the easiest way for them to live is by getting to eyes. So now I'm going to change my path a little bit and try to make it so that there's no eye space for these stones. So that is all I'm doing here, is I'm going to take away any of the eye space that Black can potentially get. We don't need to actively kill the group. We do not need to remove liberties. We just need to make sure that this group cannot live. So that is all we're doing. So Black's trying to break out. We are obviously going to block that. And this should be a pretty easy kill, but it's really easy to mess these things up. And we do it all the time. So in situations like this, just make sure you play good shape, both shape moves for yourself and shape moves against your opponent's shape. So here in this situation, this looks like a shape move that Black would want. It's certainly one that we want. It's a very good shape. Off of these 3 stones, nice move here, reduces eye space, and Black's looking to do this. That's fine. We are just going to play this power triangle. Remember, guys, when you play it as the power triangle, when your opponents play it, it's the empty triangle. In this case, it was played simply to connect. Okay, Black's looking to come out. We will block. And now Black is coming this way. And that is fine. We can extend again. We can also extend here. This might be better. I think just extending. I don't see how Black's going to get 2 eyes in here. So I think surrounding should be good enough. Okay, so Black is going there, which gets them 1 eye, but 1 eye is not 2. Do we just connect? I think we just connect. Stay strong, and limit Black to getting another eye. Black does have 1 eye here, but I don't think they're going to be able to get more than that. So let's play here to threaten to poke the eye out. Black is looking to cut, but we can just connect here. Obviously, if Black plays here, these stones die, so we're not going to let that happen. We're going to play this Atari, which threatens to kill this group. So Black needs to be a little careful there. And now we can play this Atari, actually. Sure, let's play this Atari, which gets us a little more strength. And Black has to let this stone go. Black cannot keep that stone. Okay, so it's important. When they are in your area of influence and are completely surrounded, you get to play very aggressive moves. So in this case, we can play this extension. And yeah, Black can break out, but what direction is he running to? They're just running to our group. So we can just do this again. And now we're all connected up. And black is trying to run out, but there's nowhere to go. We just completely surrounded. So you'll see that I'm changing my focus on, what's the easiest way for them to live? Is it by connecting to a living group, or is it by getting eyes? And you'll notice that I'm changing depending on where in the fight we are. Okay, this is fine. I will take this Atari, and I will absolutely capture, which puts this in Atari. Not sure what black's plan with that was. This does nothing to get black more eyes, and so let's just make sure that we stay connected. So we'll play this. So we've got this nice bamboo joint. You'll notice a lot of this is really based on shapes. When I'm looking to kill groups, we really care about shapes. So here, this isn't going to do anything because them capturing the stone does not give another eye. So I'm just going to connect here. If black wants to capture this stone, I'm going to connect. I'm not going to do this ko. This isn't a ko because black doesn't actually get anything by filling in. So I think the writing is on the wall. This group looks kind of dead. And it wasn't necessarily easy, right? I go through this and say that, this is how you do it. And I'm able to navigate through this well because I know the tips and tricks. But it isn't going to be easy to necessarily do this. With that said, this is our friend just resigned, which makes sense, right? He took his last hurrah, and it did not work out. So let's take a look at how our friends could have played this better with the review. So let's go jump into the review now. Okay, so here we are in the review, and we'll be going over black's moves. So things start off easy enough, but then get pretty interesting pretty quickly. So I mentioned here that we are doing a variation that we normally have not been seeing in these videos, because I don't recommend that we do this variation until we understand what's going on. Typically, we're going to play here, right? Black will slide, and then we'll come back. But this is a much more popular Joseki now because of AI. This attachment forces black to finish out the variation. The issue with this one is black can actually tanuki from this because there's Miai between C3 and C9, so black can actually play away and be fine. So white doesn't like that. White doesn't want black to have the option, so white forces black to do something about it right now because the follow-ups to this are much more severe. So black plays here, and then white Hane's here. And this might look like a bad play because black can just play this and this. And so we need to understand why we can play this way before we do this Joseki, which is why I typically don't want you guys doing it. But in this case, it's actually a mistake because white can just Atari this stone and then go and capture this outside stone. And white gets a really good result from this with the outside strength, and black just gets a very small corner. So this is considered good for white. What I don't want to see, which is something I see in a lot of games that I review, is white will attach here, black will Hane, and then white descends, and then obviously black descends. And if you look at this, black gets a very solid and pretty large corner, and white really doesn't get much out of this. I'm not even sure where white would play something like this, but this isn't a good result for white. So this is why I don't want you guys playing this, for a few reasons. One, you need to understand that this is a bad move. You need to know how to handle this, and then you also need to know how to handle if black does this. And this gets really, really complicated. So if you guys want to do this one, that's fine, but go and study it because there's a lot that can go wrong with this variation. But I wanted to show it, so we showed it, and our friends knew it pretty well. So here, I'm more used to black playing here, and then snooking, but this is also an option. So we jumped to get a base, black snookied, we responded, then they decided to do the same variation that we did, except we pushed to O16 instead of S17. So normally here I expect black to extend to the point where I've actually never had this move played against me. So I went and looked it up between the game and this review because I need to make sure that I give good information. And apparently we go and do this, and then white can Tanuki. This is the exchange. Not gonna lie, don't know when that Hane would be played over just extending here. That's something I will have to look up afterwards. I do not know all of the things, nor do I pretend to know them. So I should have pushed one more time, but I decided to go and invade. This is fine. And then our friend plays this pretty complicated Joseki. So there are a number of things that we can do here. We can look at this Atari, but then black gets a very strong outside, either with this or just connecting. And yeah, we can get this, but it leaves black just very, very strong outside. So there's that option, or we can do what we did in the game. This is the more common. And then yeah, black plays here. We capture, black forces that forces us to fill, takes the Atari, and then we take this Atari. And this is what happened in the game. And then I played E17. This all makes sense. Now, black has the option of taking this ladder if the ladder works. But here the ladder does not work for black, so black cannot play here. Black should play here instead. But that's not what black did. Black attached, which is going to force us to get a little more strength. And again, I didn't like this direction for black because it lets us really reduce this. And yeah, and it's a complicated Joseki, so I obviously don't want you guys doing this unless you know what's going on here. And I know you guys know there are lots of options for black here, right? Black can continue and extend like this and let white Tanuki. Black can just Tanuki here. Many options, including this. But this is a Joseki that you guys probably won't be seeing for quite a while in your games. It shows up in some of mine, but honestly not too many. Okay, so this is all fine. And here, I think black needed to recognize that they have Sente. There's really nothing to worry about on this right corner, mainly because black can play R16 at any point in time to be alive in this corner. So this group is not in any threat of being attacked or dying or anything like that. So I would like to see black Tanuki from this. Potentially a move like R12 is quite large. Maybe something like K3 could be large, or maybe black wants to develop this side with something like G5. All options. Another option, if black wants to strengthen up here, is taking this turn. This turn would be quite large as well. But this it missed the mark, and it let us take a free move, which we were more than happy to do. We jumped in, and black played, I think, from the wrong side here. Looking at this, looking at the A group and the B group. B group is stronger, and so you typically want to play away from your strength, and so you probably want to play on something over here. And so potentially black could play something like this, and yes, white can get a base, but it's really not going to be that great for white when black does something like this. White might struggle to live here, and black's getting really, really, really good influence from this. So this is kind of why we play away from strength, because we just force white into this wall, and what's white going to do? We just get to bully the group around. But playing here gave us the opportunity to jump out, and then black ducked away here, which is a really unfortunate move, because this is kind of giving up on the exchange here. When we jumped in, and this is black saying, I'm too afraid of this. I just want to get strong. You can do whatever you want. But that's how we end up losing games, is when we give our opponents what we want, which is exactly what this is. This is just saying, hey, white, I'm going to play this, to just get strong, try to get alive. You do whatever you want now, and that's just, like I said, an unfortunate way to go about it. I think, black can consider a move like this, can consider a move like this, maybe even doing something like this to try to get ahead of white. But yeah, playing here honestly just lets us Tanuki, which is what we ended up doing. We pushed here, and then we're able to Tanuki. This was also a pretty unfortunate move because black's alive here. These stones are strong enough. I don't think white's going to save this stone anytime soon. So I think this was just a little early. And then we got to play this. White descended, and we went here. It's unfortunate. I was talking with my opponent after the game, and they mentioned that this was a misclick, but they had already requested a misclick, which you guys didn't see in the video, and I obviously accepted it. And I would have accepted this one too, because I want to make sure we have nice, clean games. And I didn't know this was a misclick, and so obviously this move isn't great, and my opponent knew that. Here we we could look at a move like this, and both players would probably be happy with this result. Black could also just look at jumping out or jumping out. Something. This obviously isn't the way to go, and this was kind of the beginning of the end, right? Because this cascaded into us just being able to attack everything. So it's a little tough to criticize anything from here on out, except we're kind of following up with the mistake, right? So we can accept that this was a misclick, or let's say it wasn't even a misclick, and you just realize afterwards that it just wasn't a good move. We don't need to put more stones into this. There's a phrase that applies here, which is don't put good stones into bad. And what that means is, it's Black's turn right now. You have a good stone to put on this board. Don't put it towards a bad group or a bad effort. And so R11, I think, is a perfect situation. We just gotta give that stone up. And so once Black plays here, now this becomes a real commitment that Black needs to save, else Black's going to lose too much. Even something as simple as this can just go, okay. It's like, we cut our losses. Yeah, mistakes were made, but it's okay. It's okay. We lost a few points, but we'll get through this. But when you put your good stones into bad, now we've got this heavy group. And when I use the word heavy, what I mean is we've got light stones and we've got heavy stones. Light stones can be given up easily, and they're not going to be detrimental if they die. Heavy stones are detrimental when they die. And so this is a perfect example, because if Black just sacrifices R11, let's say that Black does something like this and gets this kind of exchange. Black sacrificed R11, but White really didn't get much out of this, and Black's pretty happy with this exchange. Black could even do something like this and then this. And this is a good way to sacrifice a stone, and White doesn't get much out of it because that was a light stone. But Black can't do that anymore, because now White's going to get yet another free move, and it's just too much now. So it's unfortunate that Black was trying to save this group, because there was really no way to do it. And then Black ended the exchange with this very unfortunate move, because this is 100% Gote. There's absolutely no reason to save this stone. It's only 1 point. It's way too early to play a 1 point Gote move. Black has already played K17 to strengthen this group. This isn't needed. And so unfortunately that gave us another free move, and now we got to turn our attention onto this group, which is what we did. And this is where I was really harping on that we don't attack to kill, we attack to get profit. And where's our profit going to be here? Well, it looks like our profit's going to be down here, right? And then potentially some strength in the center. And it turns out we ended up getting both of those. So here we played the Hane, we extended, and then we go and do this. And so Black gets alive, but it comes at a real cost. And then Black unfortunately makes another weak group for us to go after. And so Black will live, but in these situations, it's almost always going to be in Gote, right? So then your opponent's going to get the free, the first move on the newly formed board, and it's going to end poorly. So here we just decided to go after this group. I played this to get some strength. I didn't, I was a little worried about this cut, so I just wanted to play here to make sure that we didn't get cut there. This move, we didn't punish it as firmly as we could have, because I didn't want to kill. Honestly, I didn't want to kill too much this game. But this is absolutely in the wrong direction. This is a move we play when we have the strength outside and we really want to reduce White. But if White just plays here, I think this group's dead. I don't think there's anything Black can do to live. Or is this where we played? I still think this group is dead. And honestly, the group did die, right? We didn't kill it. But here, if we had played this, the group's just dead, because Black can play here but there's no eye to be had here. So this is only one eye, and black is dead. But we played in and outside. When after this group now, black was like, okay, yep, I kind of need to live. But then we got to reduce this corner and get yet another free move and take the center. So at this point, the game pretty much is over. I'm not really going to go into the review of what happened in the center. You saw it in the game. Realistically, once these exchanges get made, there's really no way for this stone to live. White does not have enough weaknesses for black to exploit. So once we play this, I don't realistically see this stone living. Can AI make this stone live against me? Yeah, probably. But it would have to be a considerably stronger player than myself to get this stone to live, I think. So there's really not much benefit in going over what black could have done differently here, because I don't think there's anything black can do here other than, if black was looking to reduce, probably going in this far. This is probably about as far as I'd be willing to go in as black. Here, this is tough for white. This is a really tough decision to make. Does white just passively block? Letting something like this happen? Or does white try to do something against this stone and possibly let this stone get out? And now if this stone gets out and connects, white loses the entirety of the center. So it's tough. So black could have considered something like this. But yeah, this was just a little too deep, and we were able to get there. So anyway, that's where we're going to leave this one today. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Some interesting Josekis that we don't really get to see too often in these. So it was nice to go over those. And then obviously this invasion at the end was good fun times. So anyway, thank you guys for coming out for another ride in the Struggle West, where every wheel is an empty triangle. Have a good one, guys.